Hello, you're talking to Tom Lyons at MakingYouFindable.com, and today we're going to talk about website conversion, which is the next step in our building a strong web presence. We've talked about search engines and how to do some search engine optimization and how to use pay-per-click advertising, that sort of stuff. We've talked about listing syndication to get your listings out there and draw more traffic to your website and possibly generate more leads. We've talked about the social web and social networking using Facebook, Twitter, that sort of idea, and how it affects your sphere of influence, and again how you can draw more traffic to your website, and how you can generate more leads from your sphere of influence, and the whole point of social networking. We've talked about domain names and the pros and cons of choosing different types of domain names. So the last part here is website conversion. And with website conversion, we're going to talk about the types of forms that you can have on your website, the differences between forced registration and open registration and no registration. We're going to talk to buyers want to look at. They want to look at listings. So keep that in mind when you're putting together your website. If you're going to find a place that you can probably convert your visitors, it's going to have to be something around listings. Now that doesn't mean that it needs to be something that to do directly with your listing. So if we look at an example here, right, this form here, right, let us do the work. We can search for the type of home you want and email you the results. So what we're saying here is, look, if you're looking for homes, if you're looking for listings, why are you doing all the searching? We'll do searching for you, right? And they can fill out their name, their email, their phone number, a price, and the area that they're looking for, and boom, we send them that information out. But better yet, we send them a personalized email trying to start the relationship and try and get them on the phone, right? If we get a phone number, we call them immediately. So that's a good example. At the bottom of a listing, we have another form too. So after they've watched the video, they see this form here, and they can ask questions about it, or they can request a showing. So we've got two ways on this particular listing that they can request information from us. If you look at the home page, this form is still here, and this form will show up on every single page on the site. Doesn't matter which page you're looking at. So no matter where they are, what they're looking at, they can make the decision to say, okay, you know what, I think I would like to request more information, or I would like them to do the searching for me because I'm getting tired of looking at all these websites trying to find a home. Here's a #1 agent site. And again, as you can see, there's no form on here, but they'll do a type of forced registration. Oh, there we go. Latest listings, get them emailed to you. So they've got a little tiny form, but see how it's almost hidden, right? It can't be hidden. Like, if you expect people to fill out the form, it needs to be prominent. It needs to be the important thing on the page, not the hidden thing on the page, right? Because other people won't see it. This is one of the most important things you can do. So why would you make it one of the smallest things on your site? Right? It needs to be noticeable, and it needs to be there so that people can see it. Okay, so enough ranting about that. So let's talk about forced registration versus open registration. I've seen both, and a lot of people will swear by forced registration because of the amount of leads that come in. But when I talk to a lot of people that have forced registration, and they are getting a ton of leads, their close rate on those leads and conversion rate on those leads is incredibly low. So what they end up having is they have this huge amount of work because they got to go through all those leads to try and figure out which ones are valid. So hundreds of leads in a month, but at the end of the day, they're only still doing 1 deal or 2 deals off of them because the majority of them, only 2% of those leads left valid information of some type or actually wanted to talk to somebody. And then we've got open registration. Open registration is you can look at all the listings and you can view as much as you want, but you don't have to necessarily fill out the information. So that's similar to the forms that you saw earlier on the page. It's not they're choosing to give the information as opposed to being forced to give the information. I really like that method, and it's all about trying to find the right value to trade for the individuals. You'll get a lot less leads. There's no doubt about it. Generally, that's not going to bring in hundreds of leads to your website in a month, right? That'll bring in anywhere from 30 to 50 leads in a month. However, a big portion of those leads will be convertible, which means now instead of converting 1% of those leads or 2% of those leads, you've cleared out all the people, or the majority of the people, that are giving you false information, right? So now what you're dealing with is real people, and it's up to you to try and convert them. So you can convert those anywhere from 10% to 20%, which is a lot less work for the same amount of money, because at the end of the day, you'll still find the same people. it's just a lot easier to find them in the mess when you've got less fake leads to go through. And then the last one, and I didn't write it down here, is no registration. And no registration is just silly. That's people that come to your site and then they can leave. They can look at all your information, and you don't ask for the information at any point in time, whether you're forcing them to do it or whether you're allowing them to do it voluntarily. That's just silly, because if you don't have any registration, they're going to come, they're going to go, and almost never contact you. Right, or the majority won't. Now, I'm not saying you won't get any contacts, because some of them will go to your contact page and they'll request information, but it will be incredibly rare. And as a result, you'll only do a couple deals. So you need a happy medium between forced registration and no registration. And I'm going to give you an analogy. Think of yourself going into a mall, and as you go into the mall, you approach a store, and you look in the window and you see, oh wow, they got some really great stuff in there. I think I'll go take a look. And as you go to take a look, and you step into the store, somebody stops you right at the entrance and goes, excuse me, you can't come in here until you fill out this information. Right? I need your name, your address, your phone number, your postal code, what you're interested in. Right? Before we let you into the store, what would your response be? Your response would be, go to hell. I'm not coming into your store. Or you'd lie. You'd fill in the information, but you'd put false information in so you could go look at the stuff. Right? You'd do one of the two. You'd either leave, or you'd fill in false information so you could go look at the things you wanted to look at, right? As opposed to the approach that if you come into the store, you get to look, and then when you're ready to browse or ready to buy, right, then they'll ask for a postal code or something at the store, and almost everybody gives that postal code out, right? So that so the store still collects the demographic information, right? So understand that same philosophy, that same pattern follows on a website registration too, right? If you and if you wouldn't accept it in the real world, don't accept it so much on the online world, right? We talked about lead capture on every page. I already said that, and that you need to trade value to capture that lead or to capture that information. And then the last part that I really want to talk about here is to talk about following up. Now, if you get a phone number, call them now. Like, call them immediately. You would, if it was a referral that somebody gave you with a phone number, you'd call them immediately. If it was a signed call, you'd call them immediately. If it was a duty call, you'd call them immediately. But for some reason, because that phone number came in through the internet, we think it can wait 24 hours, 48 hours. It's not the case. Those people are searching for homes now, right now. And they're on somebody else's, they're on your web page. And if you can call them immediately while they're still on your web page and say hi, it's Tom Lyons from TomLyons.com. Right? Glad to see you're on my website, TomLyons.com. What type of home are you looking for? Right? And you get into that conversation with them immediately. That's amazing. If you can catch them before they go to other people's websites, even better. But you can bet that as soon as they're done with your website, they're probably going to go to another website, another real estate website, and they'll probably fill out the information there too. Which means now they've requested information from 2 different agents, and whoever's fastest wins. There's no doubt about it. So if you get a lead email with a phone number or a response with a phone number, you need to call them immediately. Now, what if you don't get a phone number? You just get an email address. You need to understand why they didn't include that phone number. They think you're going to hammer them. They think you're going to bug them. They think that you're going to abuse them. Right? Now, that's not the case, because that's not your job. Your job is to help them. But they don't. That's not the mindset they have. Otherwise, they'd leave the information, right? So you need to respect that. You need to respect that with the email that you send back to them, and you need to send back an email again immediately. I mean, if you can still send that email while they're on your website, even better. But if you can send that email back, and you make sure that you deal with the fact that they're nervous. You say something, hi, it's Tom Lyons. I noticed you're on my website, and you sent a request in for some listings. That's fantastic. I'm more than happy to help. You know what? I understand that right now you're probably not ready to talk to me in person, right? That you're just starting your search, and I completely respect that, right? However, to do the best search possible for you, I would appreciate being able to talk to you, right? And so that I can get better information, so that I can send you better homes or things that you're more willing to look at, right? So signing off for today. This is the end of building a strong web presence.